Hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm Boomy, and today we are watching Are Dolphins OP? The Where tier list. Oh man. Hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm Boomy, and today we are watching Are Dolphins OP? The Whale tier list by TierZoo. This was again suggested by SammyMan9000 over here, who seems to be very excited for me to watch this. So yeah, whales, dolphins. I did not know dolphins are part of the whale family. If dolphins are, orcas probably are too. And as I've come to learn recently, orcas are probably high up on this tier list, if I'm not mistaken. We know that dolphins are highly intelligent. I've also come to learn that orcas are also highly intelligent. So I don't know where on the tier list they're both gonna land. Yeah, I think that the orca will probably come out on top just because they are more of the predator types compared to dolphins. So we're gonna find out. Let's see what else. We got the blue whale, which I think is the largest. Are they mammals? Let's just say organisms to ever exist. Or was it the sperm whale? Either of the two are one of the largest animals to ever have existed. But then again, they aren't really the combat type. So I mean, this is TierZoo, so we're looking at this at a RPG perspective. So in that case, I don't see them being very high up. Then again, they do live very long lives, so that could contribute to them being higher up on the tier list. I guess we'll see. So remember, if you like my reactions, don't forget to leave a like, let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comment section below, and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestions on what I should check out next, anime or YouTube video. Leave them down in the comments. That being said, let's go ahead and watch the video.
This episode was sponsored by Wix.
Ooh, I haven't seen that sponsored in a while. Are these dolphins? Ooh. Oh, I like the Apex reference.
In the history of the game. Some of the most broken abilities and some of the most powerful stats can be accessed by playing this build. When it comes to the Marine server, Cetaceans boast some of the highest intelligence and HP stats possible, and they're relatively new to the competitive scene. The story of the Cetaceans' rise to power is perhaps one of the most unique stories in the entire history of the game. The Cetacean build began when some low-level mammal players tried to create a mammalian
they are mammals.
crocodile build. It didn't work very well catching players on the shore, and because warm-blooded builds have a higher food cost, this was especially problematic. But this build...
Is he trying to say that whales or the cetaceans in general are the reverse of what happened to us? We came from fishes that began walking on land, and now he means to say that some of those subspecies decided to go back into the ocean? Is that it?
It was surprisingly effective at catching fish in the water due to their high aquatic agility. And so they basically just kept spending evolution points buffing traits related to hunting fish until eventually they'd reallocated just about all of their land-based ability skill points to aquatic ones. It wasn't long before the seas were dominated by cetacean players, both of the smaller, more agile variety and of the new giant powerhouse variety. Skipping forward to today, we've got a multitude of powerful cetacean builds occupying different roles within the meta. So as always, let's delve into the different variations of the cetacean class and rank them on a tier list. Now, I'm happy to say that I'm going to have to start pretty high up on the tier list when rating cetaceans.
Hey, let's go.
I can consider at or below average. All of them are at least B tier. But yeah,
that's good to see.
The two cetacean builds that are specifically adapted to the Arctic server, the Beluga and
Narwhal.
the Narwhal.
Yep.
So the Beluga and the Narwhal both made sacrifices to mobility in order to gain the cold resistance perk that they needed in order to survive the Arctic server. On top of the typical choice to put points into blubber, Belugas and Narwhals both also opted to cut the dorsal fin perk, which lowers their overall agility in the water but helps conserve heat. Both also made significant sacrifices to their vision, but luckily for them, cetaceans have access to one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire game, echolocation. Only a few classes have unlocked this ability. Cetaceans, bats, shrews, and a few others. and it lets them entirely negate the stealth abilities of other players. If you're playing as a fish, crustacean, or cephalopod, and you hear this sound, know that you've been detected and will need to either take cover or prepare to fight. This ability also helps them detect locations where they can resurface to breathe, since a big danger of the whale's playstyle of living down under the ice is being unable to find an opening in the ice where they can come up for air. In the case of the narwhal, their tusk does grant them bonus damage and a pretty powerful intimidation buff, but honestly they don't really need this. They're already quite well suited to taking out fish players. But the extra attack range certainly doesn't hurt. The only reason I rate these builds as lower than other cetaceans is because the other builds are more versatile in the servers that they can play on, rather than limiting themselves only to the Arctic. At the top end of B tier, we have the Boto, a smaller cetacean build specifically adapted for the Amazon River. This build is special because it puts the maximum amount of evolution points into the echolocation skill. Along its snout are whiskers that buff the accuracy of echolocation's target locating effect. This offsets the near total
There are whales in swamps? That's news to me.
blindness of the Boto. The Boto doesn't really have a ton of competition in its local meta, so it's tough to gauge its prowess in combat. The other top tiers of the region include the Jaguar and the Otter, but neither of them are big enough or mobile enough to successfully bring down a Boto. It'd be a lot easier to place them if they had to contend with crocodiles and sharks for control of the rivers. But the one thing that I can say is that one of the cetacean's other big weaknesses is particularly bad for the Boto. Cetaceans lack a sense of smell, and this leaves them particularly vulnerable to pollution. Pollution is a big problem in the Amazon, and without the ability to sense
not just in the Amazon,
the Boto is at a pretty high risk for being poisoned by the waste generated by human players. Next on the tier list is a group that I personally really dislike for being kinda lazy brain-dead characters that are nonetheless extremely powerful. I'm talking about baleen whales, such as the blue whale and humpback whale. Baleen whales are a variation of the cetacean that arose when cetaceans...
I mean, I get why he calls it lazy, because they probably just open their mouths and a lot of plankton gets sucked in. Easy XP.
really hit the big time.
You don't really need to work that hard.
Reaching such a massive size that size alone was the only defense that they really needed. And so I kind of just took all of the really cool, unique abilities that cetaceans had and said, well, why would I need that when I can just be real big? And so they opted to sacrifice their echolocation ability to reach the maximum HP
Max
level
HP.
attainable. They also traded their teeth for an entirely new style of weapon called baleen. Baleen doesn't do any damage in combat, except against players in the micro weight class. Most of the time, larger builds don't bother griefing players in the micro weight class, simply because they aren't worth the XP. But baleen is so efficient at catching krill that whales can rack up an absurdly high KD ratio, enough to offset the low XP value from each individual krill. There's something about the largest builds in the game having a game plan centered entirely around winning against the smallest players in the game that doesn't sit right with me.
Man.
I can't deny that baleen whales
that's bullying on a whole nother level.
are nearly invincible because of their size, and because of that they earn a pretty easy A tier spot. The only builds that can pose a threat to them are humans and the top contender on this list. But this isn't to say that you can't make the giant style build work while still retaining what makes the cetacean build interesting.
Okay, so blue whales are bigger than sperm
retains
whales.
all the awesome cetacean abilities and has some pretty powerful stats to back it up. And it uses them to fight against some of the most powerful opponents in the entire
giant squid
server, the giant squid. Sperm whales have mastered the giant squid matchup, and despite the squid's claws, beak, and superior mobility, the whale wins almost every time. That's it for A tier, but we've still got
too
the top
tanky.
two left.
Isn't Moby Dick rumored to be a sperm whale, a giant sperm whale?
First, we've got the best intelligence build in the entire ocean server, the bottlenose dolphin.
Dolphins.
They're by far the most widespread and numerous cetacean build, and it's no surprise why so many players chose the dolphin as their main. Even though they didn't spec into the baleen trait, they can still catch a huge amount of small fish by using their intelligence and team strategies to set traps, meaning that a coordinated assault by a group of dolphin mains can easily mean game over for entire schools of fish. Dolphins have great matchups against the other top tiers of the ocean meta, like the octopus and shark. Their echolocation completely negates the otherwise undetectable stealth that octopi have in their shapeshift ability. They're pretty much defenseless once detected, as even their ink cloud ability doesn't counter the dolphin's sonar.
True.
Sharks are a different story. Sharks are perhaps the one build in the game with an even more powerful sensory ability than dolphins. Electroreception allows them to sense any movement made by a nearby player, and works in a full
Yeah, with regards to that, what did you call it? Electroreception?
electroreception.
Yeah, I've heard that if you throw a shark in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, it can detect the temperature changes when you throw one small ice cube in the water. That's how sensitive it is.
Allows them to sense any movement made by a nearby player, and works in a full 360-degree circle around them, not just directly in front like sonar does. So you'd think sharks would be a huge problem for dolphin players, and one-on-one they certainly are, especially since dolphins don't really have any powerful offensive moves.
Who
But
meant
because
the
of the
shrimp?
dolphin's intelligence, they know exactly where to hit a shark in order to deal maximum damage, like gills.
They're they're basically like the Tylees of the ocean. They're just gonna give until you give up.
A few good head bashes to the gills is enough to turn the tide of battle pretty quickly against them. Dolphins are even good at messing with humans, something very few builds actually succeed at. But if you want to really be able
Man,
to
what
bully
a
humans,
troll.
you're going to need to play as the number 1
Orca?
build on this list, which is
Give me the
coincidentally
orca.
number 2 ranked build in the entire game, second only to humans themselves. This is,
No.
of course, the Orca. Orca mains are the most disrespectful BM players in the history of the side.
Yes.
Their up throw is second to none in terms of damage,
Yep.
and gives the victim plenty of time to contemplate their poor character choice. Orca
I really recently seen this. I've seen a short clip of things that orcas can really do and what they're capable of. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they are second only to humans in the whole history of outside.
Orcas are also perhaps the best marine build for dealing with platform campers.
Lure.
Their high intelligence level
Yeet.
enables them to either bait an approach, or if that doesn't work, they'll generate a wave to knock their opponent off the platform.
So smart.
Their intelligence level is only a tiny bit below the Dolphins, but
Yeah.
that's plenty enough to
That's
give you
enough.
all the smarts it needs to do.
I mean, look at those stats. They're practically the same when it comes to intelligence, but they have higher power. They probably have the same defense. Mobility, not so much, but then again, they have higher HP and they have higher stealth. So overall, the sea pandas are not to be messed with.
Deal with the defensive strategies of the likes of dolphins, seals, and even other whales. They've also got enough smarts to know not to make enemies with humans. There have been no fatal attacks on humans by wild orca mains. Now, this isn't to say that they don't mess with each other every so often. Orcas will divert the course of ships, humans will acidify the ocean, you know, classic pranks. But
Classic
all in all,
pranks.
the orca player base knows that the best way to stay up
Humans will acidify the ocean. Classic pranks. It's just a prank, bro.
number 2 on the tier list
So
is not to
dumb.
anger the ridiculously OP human player base. So one question that I get a lot is whether or not I think a cetacean build could supplant humans and claim the number 1 spot. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
Yep.
Cetaceans have the intelligence, but I can't see anything beating humans without unlocking some of the higher rungs on the tech tree. And
True.
unfortunately, these are basically unreachable without control of fire and also eventually control of electricity, both of which are pretty much impossible to unlock through gameplay on the marine servers. They'd also need to put some points into dexterity so that they could actually use tools. This is also really difficult because if they just traded their fins for hands, they'd lose too much mobility to be able to catch fish. They may not be able to build their own
The feet looks dumb as fuck. Oh man.
civilizations, but they still might be able to build a website using Wix because of how easy they make the design process.
That was a good
Wix is a
transition.
website that is so intuitive that even me, someone who has no experience building a website, was able to make a fantastic looking page to showcase my work. I mean, just take a look at some of the stuff I was able to make here. This is pretty cool, right? I think it's pretty cool. They take care of all of the behind the scenes stuff and do all the heavy lifting for you, leaving only the fun creative part for you. They've got templates for just about everything you could possibly need. So whether you want to build a website for your business, blog, online store, or something else, Wix is definitely the way to go. I actually had a ton of fun tinkering around with all of the options.
Yep, guys, if you wanna go ahead and build a website, I don't know if this particular link is still valid, but go ahead and visit wix.com/go/TierZoo. Help support the channel. Again, I don't know if this link is still valid, but give it a try. Man, it's been so long since I haven't seen any Wix advertisement from any creator, so this was a breath of fresh air. But yeah, that was the whale tier list. Ah, such a good video. And I would have been surprised that orcas are at the top of the food chain when it comes to, not really at the top of the food chain, but you get the gist. They are at the top of the whole outside when it comes to the tier list because recently I just learned, like I said, that they are not to be trifled with. But yeah, Dolphins are really, really OP if you ask me. It depends on their particular situation though. If we go for a death match, they probably, I mean, they probably can. They are so smart that they can probably adapt, but still, they are no match for them humans. Yeah, that was an incredible video by TierZoo as usual, but that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Link to my Twitter is down in the description below. Go ahead and check it out if you want to. And if you're new here and enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comments section below, and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestions on what I should check out next, anime or YouTube video. Leave them down in the comments. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!